Hello, Reviteers, and welcome to this new module. We will be continuing off of our module from last week where we created walls. And this week we're going to be going through that same floor plan, the casita, and we're going to be inserting in windows and doors. You can see I've already gone ahead and started the model. I'm going to redo the whole thing with you guys in just a moment. Before we get started, I wanted to talk about two ways of opening projects you've already worked on. So one way, as you can see here, is I've got my models here already loaded that I can click on and easily open. But another way is if you go into your Explorer menu, you'll see those same files. But you also see that I've got like 1, 2, 3 here as well. These are backup files and they're helpful so that if anything happens, like if your file gets corrupt or you lose it, you might have some backups here. But the trouble with them is they're quite large. Do you see that they're essentially the same size as the original model? And sometimes when people start working with Revit, they get a little bit confused, like, which one should I use? So you don't need this many backups. Some of you may have more or less depending on how long you've worked on the project. So what I wanted to do was show you how you can control the number of backups in all of your projects as you open them. That'll be where we'll start today. So what I'm going to do is open up, I think Casita Tiny is my blank file. No, I lied. Hopefully it's the Casita. And if not, I will pause and delete everything through the magic of the internet. I can pause and delete everything. So what I'll do when you guys come back, you'll see that everything will be deleted and we can start over again. But while I'm here, let me finish my point. And what I'd like you to do is go up to File. And then down here, there's an Options menu. Go ahead and click on that. And under General, you'll see that Journal File Cleanup. Those are your backups right there. We don't need 10 journals. Let's go ahead and say that maybe at most you want 3, and then delete journals that are older than 10 days. That seems totally fine. The other thing that's also in here under General is Set Reminder Interval. I have mine at every 30 minutes. You can do it sooner, you can do it a little bit later, but it's always good to save and save often. One of my favorite shortcuts again is Control S. So I generally don't get these reminders just because I'm saving so much. So again, Journal File Cleanup, make it 3, maybe even 2. Like I said, you don't need that many, and then OK. So you don't have that many waiting for you. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up this file here so it's a blank and looks more similar to yours. And we're going to get right into inserting doors and windows. Welcome back. Now my floor plan probably looks much more similar to what you've been working on as well. What I'm going to do is open up my 3D view so we still have a couple of views. As we're working, I'm going to give a little bit more space to my main level, maybe. If I can find that arrow. There we go. A little bit more real estate over here. And we're going to get started in the modern casita plan that we were working on last week. One thing I want to preface as we go on is please remember that although this is essentially a floor plan, it looks like it's been done professionally. It still really is a sketch though. So this could have been a sketch that you did maybe in CAD, or you can even pretend that this was a sketch that you did, using a scale so everything's lined up really nicely. But it still is a sketch. And the reason why I want you to remember that is we still don't know all of the information. Like for example, today, we know that we're putting in openings, which includes doors and windows, and even openings like this, but we don't necessarily know the exact window sizes. So again, we are in the driver's seat as the designer to make some of those decisions. So for the first part of the exercises, I am going to be going through and kind of studying the plans with you. And then when you do your assignment, which is the modern 2-bedroom, then you're going to take some of the skills that we learned to go through, estimate sizes, and how to put things in correctly using dimension strings, right? So again, today what we'll be focusing on is how to insert openings. And the thing that's nice about openings is they are part of something called components. And when you use components in Revit, once you know how to put in a door, you can use that same knowledge to put in a window or any other opening. And truly, the same knowledge will also help apply to furniture in the future as well. They all really build off of one another. It's essentially the same process using different components. And again, those components would be doors, windows, and furniture in this case. We will be using dimensioning as the main technique for putting in and aligning our windows, but there are a couple other techniques that I will show you as well. So to get started, I want to start with the windows on the plan. So if we do a quick study on the actual plan, we can see that there are, a couple of bedroom windows that are the same. And there's 2 more in addition to that. We've got a kitchen window and then a living room window. So really not an overwhelming amount of windows. And luckily in this case, we have more than the plans to give us more information. So in this case, we have all of these nice elevations. So when I was talking about the bedroom window, I think these are the 2 I mentioned. By looking at these exterior elevations, I can see that these windows are small and they're pretty high up. They're privacy windows. One other thing that we can learn from is when we take a look at these elevations, we can also start thinking about the head height. Now, the head height refers to where the top of windows and doors are. Now, in a standard residential setting, the head height of a standard door and the top of most windows is 6 feet 8 inches. So if you were to go to like Home Depot or Lowe's and look for a garage door or even any other interior exterior door, the majority of them are going to be 6 feet 8 inches. Now, it's becoming common for people to want to be uncommon. So in that case, they don't want a 6 foot 8 door. They might want a 7 foot door. And I would say that in this house for sure, these people are going to want to be fancy and they're going to want 7 foot high head heights as well as 7.0 doors. So for this project, let's assume that our head height, again, the top of our windows and doors are going to be up at 7 feet. But please also keep in mind that the standard is 6 feet 8. So as we go to the back of the house, one thing that I notice when I look at this view here is if this is the top of the door, or the head, if this is our head height, do you see that these windows are placed just above the head height? And again, I think this is for privacy. I truly think that it's for privacy. So these are going to be above our standard head height. And one thing that we can also do is we need to figure out how big these windows are. So using my very esteemed investigational skills, if I know that this room is about 16 feet and this is about the middle of the room, right? I mean, I know it's a little bit more, but if I look at these 2 windows, if this was truly half, there'd be about 8 feet left here. And so these windows can't quite be 4 feet, but I think it's safe to say that they're about 3.5 feet each, right? We don't know exactly how they've been drawn, but again, as the designer, we get to make those design decisions and decide what works best. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to start at these 3.5 foot windows that are above the head height of 7 feet. And to me, these look like my guess would be 18 inches tall. and they look like they have not quite a foot between them. There's a little bit more space here. It's a little misleading because if we take a look at the plan, the space almost looks symmetrical, right? So if we have a 6-inch wall here, let's say we're 12 inches away from this corner and then 6 inches away here. So it's a lot of information I'm throwing at you, but let me do it again from the top. So 6 inches away from this wall, 3.5 feet, and then another 6 inches between them before we start our other 3.5 foot window. So let's hop into Revit and start building those windows. So when I see you next, I'm going to see you in Revit. Welcome back to your model. So now we're going to go ahead and get going on inserting windows. So this will be our first opening that we're going to go through. And I'm actually going to spin my model around so I can see where those windows are going. And just a quick review, I'm spinning my model by holding down my roller ball. You might even be able to hear me clicking it in the background of the lecture. And I'm holding the shift key. That allows me to spin it. So this is the wall that I'm working with. So if I click on this wall and highlight it, it also highlights it in this view right here. To insert a window, the shortcut is WN. And this is what happens. Your modify menu changes so that all of the editing tools that you need for a window pops up. And then similar to your wall menu, you can see that this properties menu, if we pull down on it, instead of seeing different wall types, we see different window types. So these are the 3 windows. So these are 3 window types and all of their different sizes that are built into this generic residential template. With any one of these components, if you want to see what more there are, go ahead and click on Load Family. Go all the way down to Windows. So I scroll down, double click on that menu, and then if you just click on these, you can see a preview of what other window types are there. So if you want to spend a minute clicking around, please do. We're not going to load one today. I just wanted you to see what else was available. But if I did want to load one in, like let's say that you loved, this, I'm going to try to find one that's like really out there so it's obvious, not skylights. Let me find something round or oval. And I'm sure those of you at home who can see the oval are like, Naima, it's right there, you're blind. But here's my oval. And what I would do, I'd click open and it loads it into the project for me. So now under my list of windows, I now have an oval, a fixed oval window as well. Now for this project, I'm just going to go generic, fixed with trim. I'm not going to do anything fancy. But when I look at the fixed with trim, do you guys see that I don't have the size that I am looking for? Right? I said that I wanted a window that was 18 inches tall and 3.5 feet wide. And that's not one of my options. So if I were to grab any of those fixed with trim windows, based on what we did last week with walls, can you think of what we can click on right now so that we can make a custom window size? I'm going to let you think about that. You can even pause if you'd like. Hopefully right now you're thinking edit type. So if I click on edit type, here's another question. Before we make any changes, what's the first thing we should do? And I hope you're yelling at me, duplicate. Before we make any changes, we want to duplicate it because we don't want to override the 16 by 24 inch window. We want to make a new custom unique window. And we can only do that by hitting duplicate. So this new window, again, this is going to be a 3.5 foot window, which is 42 inches by 18 inches. Okay. And then I click on OK. And what I'm looking for, if we scroll down, you'll see dimensions. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the height as well as the width. So the height of our window is going to be 18 inches. So there's 2 ways to put that in. You can do 1 space 6. That stands for 1 feet 6 inches, enter. Or you can do 0 for 0 feet and then 18 inches, enter. Either way it works. Okay. And then for the width, we want 0 for 2. And see how it translates it into 3 feet 6 inches? That's the window that we're looking for. And now when we click on OK, right now it's giving me the no symbol because Revit understands that, I mean, unless you have a junky house, you're not going to have a window in the middle of your lawn. No judgment. I'm sorry, not a junky house, but in an eclectic house. What it's looking for are walls. So it wants to put the window within a wall. And what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of freehand place those in there. And then once we've got those 2 windows in place, similar to our walls, it wants to keep drawing. In this case, it wants to keep inserting windows. So let's hit escape twice. And you can see that we've got 2 windows now in our view. Now we're not done. They're not quite at the right height. And in addition to that, we need to place them correctly. So what I'm going to do now that they're in place is I'm going to make a dimension string. So take a peek, DI for the dimension, and let's make sure that your dimensions are set to wall faces. Take a look at that for me. And what we're going to do, we're going to start from this wall to the edge of the window, to the end of the window, edge of the next window, and then just to be sure we have the right size, we'll even come there. And then I just click to place it. Now at this point, just like everything else, escape twice to completely get out of dimensioning. And what I want to do is use my dimensions to help me move the object. Now I'm going to ask you before I click on the screen, if I want to move my window, do I click on the dimension or the window? You remember me saying last week, click on what you want to move? I think the best kind of visual that I can give you is if you and I were on a project site and we were holding a tape measure, right? We could measure a wall, but moving that tape measure doesn't change the wall, right? Like you and I would have to, imagine we're so strong, we'd have to like put our hands on the wall and push or pull whatever we're doing. So in this case, if we want to move the window, click on the window, the dimension activates, and now we can put in 0 space 6 for 6 inches. And now to move the other window, we click on that window, activate the dimension 0 space 6, enter. So now 6 inches, 3.5 foot window, 6 inches, 3.5 foot window. I think this looks great. We're almost there. Let's figure out the head height. So let me go back to our elevation because what we've got here, again, are these windows way up here. So we want to find out what this dimension is. So if our regular head height is 7 feet, but we're coming up 18 inches or 1.5 feet past that, sorry, we have to do math. What does this make my head height? So 7 feet plus 1.5 feet is 8.5 feet. And to get the right head height, we do that by selecting both windows, just so we can get a 2 for 1. So I'm going to click on a window, and then to grab the other window, did you guys see a little adorable tiny plus sign pop up on my cursor? I'm holding the control key down to grab more than one. All right, so again, click, hold control, and then click the other one. And again, what that allows you to do is to change both of them at the same time. Now to change the head height, what we're going to do is we're going to come into properties. So come over here to the left with me, pull all the way down, and do you see under other it says head height 4.5 feet? So I just mentioned this is 8.5. So 8 space 6, enter. And then it took my graphic card a minute, but there we go. That's what it looks like. Now we've definitely got some trim around this window that's not included on our original model, but I think that's all right. We can keep going, but those are our first windows. Give yourself a little pat on the back. Don't freak out because you might be looking at your plan right now and being like, oh my gosh, where did they go? So it may have looked like they disappeared, but in fact they didn't. When we first started working in Revit, I quickly explained that plans are basically the way that they're put together is you essentially take a 4-foot or 5-foot cut line, and then anything below that is what you see on your plans. Now what we just did, we took these windows and we put them above that cut line. So that's why we can't see them, because they are above. That's okay, because they still exist. They're still in our elevation. And then later on in the semester, when we know how to do detail lines, you'll learn how to come in and draw dashed lines here. We use dashed lines to indicate things that are above and below. So that includes things like cabinets, dishwashers, any sort of like ceiling details that we want to show. But that's where those above and below lines come in. Now let's stay here for just one more moment. I'm actually going to show you how to do one more thing. There's a shortcut called TG that allows you to put in a window tag. And I think these are helpful when you first start working, especially when you have windows that aren't showing up like this. And so 1, it tags your windows, and 2, it lets you know if you've drawn them on the right side. So for example, if I do TG and I come over here to my window, you can see that there's a window tag, but do you see that my window tag is going on the interior side? So that 71 is a window tag. Now I'm just hovering, I'm not clicking. So before I place it, I want to hit escape, okay? And what I want to do is grab my window, so you can hover and find it, right? Or you can come grab it in this view. And what I want to do, I want to flip the orientation. So I either hit this double-headed arrow right here, flip instance, or it's easier to just hit spacebar, okay? And I'm going to grab the other window and hit spacebar as well. So this is what my window should look on the outside, okay? That's the exterior detailing of the window. Now, when we go to tag, which is TG, this is a wall tag. This is the one that we're looking for. This is what you want it to look like. But before we place it, one more thing. If you look here, our modify menu is up. Let's turn off leader. So I'm right here. We don't need this long leader line if the leader is right next to it. So I'm going to go ahead and tag both of those windows. And then as usual, you can see that even though I'm not placing any more tags, I'm still in this menu. So I hit escape twice to get out of it. And now I am done tagging. So in a short amount of time, we were able to place a window, put it at the correct height, and also tag it so that in the future, when we make our schedules, we can easily add those in. I want to keep going. Let's go ahead and put in some more windows. So let's go back to this plan and let's see what else is in the bedroom. So we've got 2 more windows in our bedroom. We've got this one right here. And again, taking a look at it, this window is smaller than my 3.5-foot window. Let's say this is about 3 feet. And if I look at this spacing right here, this spacing is less than the size of the window, right? So I can say that maybe this space is 2 feet or 2.5 feet, and then I've got a 3-foot window. We don't know the height of it yet, but what we can do is we can take a look at our sketch, which in this case is a very fancy model, and we can try to find a view of that window. So I'm just going to click through. I know it's in here somewhere. I don't think it's, this is the other side. That's the skinny window. Remember that for just a minute. Where are you, window? There you are. Okay, so take a look at this. If this is like a 3-foot window or a 2.5-foot window, do you see that it's pretty much twice as tall? So I'm going to say that this is actually a 2.5-foot window and that it's 5 feet tall. That's a big window. And in fact, these openings match it. So that's some good information that we're finding out too. To let you know, in a typical classroom setting, I'd be writing all of this on a board or a wall. So I'm sorry, I'm just kind of spouting it to you. Later on in the future, I'll get more fancy and sketch on the screen as I go along, but hopefully it's helping, just kind of going through one by one. So again, we're going to say now I'm deciding it's a 2.5 foot window and it's going to be 5 feet tall. Now that I'm back in Revit, what I wanted to ask you, I know that we've only put in one window, but you are more than welcome to pause right now, try to put it in on your own, and then come back and watch how I did it to see if you were close. I'm sure you can do it on your own. So please, if you're feeling brave, go ahead and give it a try. For those of you who are still following along, let's keep going. The rest of you, I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, so the shortcut for window is WN, and you can see that it remembered the last window, 42 by 18. If I pull down here, I'm pretty sure that it won't have a 2.5 foot, which is a 30-inch window by 5 feet. Not quite. So what we're going to do now, again, to make a unique type, we're going to click on Edit Type. And before we make any changes, we want to duplicate this. Okay, we don't want to change the window that we just made. So we want to duplicate it. And again, this one's going to be 2.5 feet, which is 30 inches, by 5 feet, which is 60 inches. So 30 by 60. And just like before, we're looking for the dimensions. This time our height is 5 feet, so I just do 5 and then click off. And then the width is 2 space 6, and then click off again. All right. And then when I click on OK, remember, it doesn't want an eclectic house. It's looking for a wall to put it in. If I zoom out here, I can still see what's going on. Now I haven't clicked yet, but I'm going to go ahead and place it here. Okay. And I hit escape twice, and we're going to use dimensioning just like before to correctly place this window. So I'm going to do DI from this face to the edge of the window, to the edge of the window, and then click off. That's pretty impressive. I didn't mean to be close, but I was only 3/4 of an inch off. And again, click on what you want to move. It activates the dimension. Click on the dimension, 2 feet, enter, and then click off. It looks pretty good. Just like before, I want to check my window to see if it's on the right face. So I'm going to type in TG, make sure leader is off, and then if I come over here, that looks great. If your window wasn't on the right face, just hit escape so you don't tag it, and then click on your window, spacebar to flip it, and then tag it again for me. So by leaving these dimensions on, that will be helpful for me because then when I grade your PDF, I can make sure that your windows and spacing are correct for the assignment. So again, really, I hope that it's getting easy for you to put these windows in. And again, let me also point out that although we're working on a plan, we also have windows created in a 3D view. We will also have windows ready for us in a section when we do our interior elevations, and then even schedules when we get to it. So fruits of your labor are quite handsome and rewarding when you're working in Revit. All right, I promise Autodesk doesn't pay me to say those things, but I would happily oblige. Let's go to our last bedroom window. So here in our last bedroom window, I can see that this one goes all the way to the ground, and it actually pops up a little bit higher than the head height. But what I'm thinking, so this is weird. See how it's red in this view? Let me go back. In this view, this is black, right? So I am going to say that there's a little bit of an inconsistency in the way that this was rendered. So I will say that this is definitely a taller window. So I'm going to take it all the way up to the 8.5 feet to where these windows should actually go. So we're going to make an 8.5 foot tall window, by 18 inches wide. I think that sounds good to me. And when we look at the plan, so here's our 18-inch window. It's going to be 8.5 feet high. If there's a wardrobe right here, a wardrobe is typically 24 inches. Now it doesn't have that much space in front of it, so if you're opening stuff, I don't know, that might be getting too close for comfort. I'm actually going to scooch this down 3 feet away from the corner. So again, 3 feet away from the corner, I'm going to make an 18-inch window that is 8.5 feet high using that same fixed window that we've been using this whole time. So just like before, if you feel ready, go ahead and hit pause, try it on your own, and then check back in to see how you did, but I will see you in just a moment. All right, let's keep going. So for this example again, WN, edit type, duplicate. We're doing an 18-inch by, oh my gosh, what is 8.5 feet? Let me do the math real quick. Come on, Nana. Let's do this. So that would be 102 inches. Wow. That's a new one for me. So 18 by 102. So our height, 0 space 102. Oh, phew, I did the math right. And then the width, 0.18 for 1.5 feet. And we're putting it over here. Okay, escape twice. Let me spin this around. Can you see what I still need to fix here? Oh, and probably here as well. I got too ahead of myself. We'll keep focusing on this window for now. I'm going to click on it, go down to my head height, and change that to 8.5 feet since we have that extra 1.5 feet on top. Perfect. That nestles it right onto the ground. And then here, I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't remember. I'm so excited about showing this to you. I did not change this head height to be 7 feet. There we go. Okay. Now before I am done with the bedroom, let me go ahead and tag this window right here. Okay, I'm going to escape a couple times. So far, so good. Let's go ahead and finish up our windows. We only have a couple more. So here's our bedroom windows. We have just a kitchen window left, and then this front room window right here. So when we're studying our plan, I can see that this window is pretty much centered, or at least it should be. And it's about the same width as this window right here. Maybe a little bit bigger actually. So if I made this window 2.5 feet, my guess is this is probably 3 feet. I'm going to use, my thumb is on my screen right now. I'm trying to see if this window is the same size as these windows over here. Oh, it is. Okay. So this is a 3.5 foot window because it's the same size as these. But if we look at our front elevations, it's a square. So let's make it a 3.5 by 3.5 foot window. And then this guy is just like our bedroom. So we can copy that window over. Let's do the easy one first. Let's copy this one over. And placement wise, again, I want this to be away from the door just to be safe. So if this is a 3 foot door, I'm going to put this window from this wall right here, I'm going to move it at least 40 inches away just so we clear that door. Okay, so let's move that 40 inches away and see how it looks. So in Revit, we can use something called Create Similar, or CS, if we want to create something that already exists. So for example, one way, this is the long way. I could go to Window. Okay, that was really easy because it's already there. So that's not very easy. But another thing I could do, I could click on the window or component or wall that I want to copy. I'm going to type in Create Similar. And what that does is it essentially makes a copy of it and it puts it in the model for you. So there's my Create Similar. And now what I'm going to do, I think I said I want it 40 inches away. Okay, I'm not going to measure the window this time, so I'm going to hit Escape twice. I'm going to grab the window, activate my dimension, 0 space 40, enter. There's my window. I can see here that the head height isn't quite right. So let's make this 8.5 feet. And let's also tag it. So TG, and then escape twice. Now we're not going to worry about the numbers right now. We're not going to worry about the numbers for quite some time until we're later in the semester. once we start working on schedules, but for now, this is just fine. And then again, our last window will be this one that we're going to center right here, the 3.5 by 3.5. So we can even grab this window and do create similar so that we have somewhat of a base for it. Let's place it in there. And what we can do now is we can click on that window, and starting with what's already here, we can go to Edit Type and then Duplicate. So this time we're going to do a 42 by 42 since that one's a square. And we only need to change one dimension, 3 feet 6 or 0 space 42, either one. Okay, there's our window, and I'm going to come to my 3D model and spin it around for you. There it is. Let's change the head height to 7.6. Okay. And then last but not least, I want to get this window centered. Now, as the designer, we need to decide if we want the window to be centered while you're looking at it from the outside or inside of your house. I'm going to go ahead and center it based on the outside of the home. That's where I'd like to start. And so to center it from the outside of the home, what I would do, I'm seeing something weird going on. I'll worry about that in a moment, but let me check my head height. The way that my window is being cut, I shouldn't see all of these walls underneath it. I'm sorry I'm glazing over it right now. Let me come back over here. See how this is a nice clean cut of the walls? It could be a graphics issue. I'm not sure. Let me just be dramatic and make sure. No, I don't have a duplicate wall. Undo. It could even be the cut line of where the window is. Maybe it's not quite at that cut line. But what I want to do, let me focus on this. I want to center it. And you can even use dimensioning for centering. So I would say, watch me do this first, okay? And then I'm going to undo it, and I'm going to do it one more time so you can walk through it with me. So for now, just watch. DI, I go from this face to the center of the window to this face, and I'm just going to place this here. I think that's kind of funny. I didn't mean to center it, but it's already centered, so I'm going to cheat and slide this down, okay? After that, what we want to do, this is a little bit different. To center something, we don't click on the object, we click on the dimension. So when I click on the dimension, do you notice that this little EQ pops up and there's like a slash through it? That means that there is, it's not equal, okay? So if I click on this, it makes it so it's equal dimension. So that's how you can easily center something. Now, as promised, I'm going to delete, unconstrain. It gets mad because it's like, hey, you just told me you wanted that to be equal, and now you're deleting it. Let me do it from the top. So here's my unequal window, BI, wall, to center the wall, and then I place it. Now again, this one's a little bit backwards. To center something, you don't click on the object, you click on the dimension, and then equal. There we go. There are our windows. I think we've got our whole house. I'm going to close this. Let me do a Vanna White spin. Wow, they're so amazing. It's like a little Barbie house. I'm such a cheese ball. All right, let me go back to our not first floor flaming. First floor, main level. That's where I want to be. Okay, so great job. You guys have put in your windows. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get into doors, and there's not too many to go through in this model. And as I mentioned before, it's pretty much once you know how to do a window, you're going to know how to do a door. So in that case, if I tell you that this front door is 3 feet by 7 feet, would you want to go through and try it yourself without any further instruction? Please do. Hit pause. Give it a try. You all know how to do the undo button. Try to go put in a 7 foot by 3 door. And if you want, you can also see if there's a fancy door that you want to load. All right. I'll see you back in the Revit model in just a minute. But honesty policy, please try it on your own. I believe in you. You can do this. Hooray and congratulations for putting in your first door in Revit. I'm assuming that all of you guys tried it on your own, and you put in a door and you're feeling really fancy and you're just like, what do I need NYMA for? I am a pro. That's what I'm hoping. I'm going to go ahead and put in my front door now. And remember, once you start working with components, whether it be windows or doors, or even like when it comes to furniture, once you know the pattern of one, you know the pattern of all of them. Now, in this case, to put in a door, you can click on the door icon, or the shortcut is DR. So DR, and just like Windows, we can come into the properties and we can see that there are already some generic doors loaded in with different sizes to choose from. And again, just like Windows, if we want more doors, we click on Load Family. And I'm still in the Windows folder, so I'm going to click this button to go up one level. It takes me back to where I was before. And this time I want to double click on the Doors folder and check out all these lovely doors we have to pick from. Okay, so with this one, I can even double click into the Residential folder. And there's different doors I can pick from as well. Fancy, right? Again, I am very easily impressed, so you might not be that impressed, but I am. I'm going to go for this door exterior, single entry, half flat glass. I'm kind of feeling this one. Let's see what this one is, sorry. Is there not a full glass? Nope, there's only a double. Okay, we're going to do the half. I'm feeling fancy. So I click on open, and what it's doing right now, it's asking, what sizes do you want? Because it doesn't want to give you all the sizes because each one of these things takes a little bit of space in your model. So it's saying, okay, pick the ones you want. And we wanted a 3 foot by 7 foot door. So here's our 3 feet doors, and 7 feet is 84 inches. So here's our 36 by 84. And I really don't think we need any other sizes because we don't have any more exterior doors. If we wanted more though, what you would do is you would hold the control key. And again, that allows you to pick things individually. So right now I'm holding control and clicking. And you see how it's letting me grab more stuff? Okay, and then when I let go of control, then it just lets me grab individually. So control to grab stuff, let go of control, and then you can just grab one at a time if you want. That's essentially how you deselect. So I just want the 3 by 7, okay? And just like our windows, it doesn't want you to have an eclectic house. Chunky house with the front door laying on the lawn. It wants you to place your door. Now I'm going to hop back into this model real quick. Let's pay attention to the swing. Okay, so the door opens towards the front of the house and it swings to the inside. So that's pretty easy to do. So to get it to swing towards the inside, you just put your cursor towards the inside. If you want it to swing out, put your cursor towards the outside. Now the swing is also easy. If you hit space bar, it changes the orientation. And again, I'm just going to place it and then escape twice to get out of that. Now I want to keep this 6 inches away. Super close, but not close enough. Okay. There's my 6 inches to that door, and I like this because I'm just barely clearing my window. So that'll be nice and open for me. There's my first door. Now the other doors that we have in our plan, we don't have all of them, to be honest. So we have just a plain bathroom door. This is a tiny door. I bet this is maybe only 2.5 feet, if not smaller. We've got a pocket door and bifold doors. Now I'm pretty sure that Revit doesn't have bifold doors, but we can use a giant slider here, but we do have a pocket door. And then the other things that we'll want to do, we'll want to put in our openings as well. So we do have like an opening doorway that we can put in. And then in our windows, I skipped past this, but we can do window openings here as well too. So let me start with this one right here. Let's do a 2.5 by 7 foot door here, and then we'll move on to loading the pocket door. So in Revit, I'm going to go a tiny bit faster this time just because we went over the window so much. Let me tilt my view down so you can start seeing the doors going in. Over here, DR, I'm going to go to my single flush doors, and I should have the 2.5 by 7. Yep, there's 30 by 84, so I don't even need to create a door in this instance. I'm going to come over here, and eventually it'll see that. I had to click into that view. It didn't know I was in that view. And see how the swing is wrong? Again, I'm just going to hit space bar so that it gets the correct swing. There we go. Escape twice. If I wanted to add more of these doors, I could keep clicking. They're free. Put in as many as you want, but I really don't need any more of those doors. So I'm going to hit escape twice. And then the next door I'm going to put in is my pocket door. So hit DR and see if there is a pocket door here in our options. There is not. So where would we go? Load family. Hopefully you guys are thinking along with me. And I'm just going to let you know that in the residential folder, so I'm going to go up one level in residential, go all the way down to the bottom, interior single pocket, hit open. And again, I don't know what size this is. I know we want it 7 feet tall, so 84 inches. Let's grab a 3 foot, which I think will be too big. So let's also grab a 2'6" by holding control, and maybe even a 32 inch. You know what? I don't think it's gonna be 3 feet. Let's deselect that one. Let's just grab these two, the 2'6" and the 2'8", and then hit OK. And since we have two, I'm not quite sure which one it's selected. It looks like it got the 30 by 84. Let's see if we can make it slightly bigger. Let's do the 32 by 84. And we're going to see, oh, this is so nice. Revit just kind of automatically centers it for us. So I click in there. One bad thing, Revit's not smart enough to know that that's not where the wall is. It needs to go this way. So if I hit space bar, it flips it to the other side. I love Revit, but I forget it's a machine. There you go. There's our pocket door. Let's see what else we've got. So we've got our pocket door. I said we're going to put a slider here. Let's check. Who knows? Maybe in this new version of Revit, I'm going to put in DR. Maybe in this new residential template, there might be a bifold door. Note these are all single, double pocket, flush panel. I don't think we have one. Nope. So let's go ahead and go into residential and let's do our sliding. Pocket 2. Let's do right here. Sorry. Door interior double sliding 2-panel wood. Let's do this one right here. And let's say that this one's 6 feet wide, 7 feet tall. Let's see if that's an option. So, yep, 6 by 7. This is being so nice to us. Everything's just loaded in already. And let's center it on this wall too. Let's see if Revit will find the center. Yep, mine clicked right in. So I placed that and hit escape twice. There we go. Okay, is that all of our doors? Let me take a look. Yeah, that's all of our doors. Well, we do have these, sorry. It's all of our doors, but then we've got these weird door window things here. We don't have anything in Revit for these, so let me tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put in glass doors there. So go ahead and go back to DR and load family. And again, we're going to be looking for exterior glass. I'm not very impressed with these. Any better ones? I'm going to hop back out. Oh, these look kind of fancy. I don't know if those will work because these are curtain wall. Double sliding. You know, let's do the double sliding. Glass, yeah. Well, double sliding, double glass, either one. So again, we're kind of making a design decision here to go with something more standard. And really, in the real world, We could be doing this because those those doors are really, really expensive. Maybe they're past the project budget. But it also could be that we're in the very early design phase with our client and we haven't picked out the door system yet. Later on in the semester, I will teach you how to go online and download components off of manufacturer websites. So you could actually find those accordion doors. But for now, double door sliding. We know we want it 7 feet tall, and let's make it 6 feet wide for now. I'm sure the doors that are there right now are wider, but for now, let's just do it 6 feet. And it finds the center for me. Let's try to center it in here too. Okay, I'm gonna hit escape a couple times. And in fact, you know what I should have done? I centered it here, but I probably should align it with this door here. So let's see how that works. So I want to align these objects. So I'm gonna hit AL. I'm gonna grab this wall here because that's where I want to align to. And then when I grab this wall here, it's gonna push it back. Let me hit escape and then Control Z. Let me do that one more time. So AL is align. And first you click on where you want to align to. Okay. Your second click is what you want to pull back or push forward, whatever you're aligning. So I click here and I actually think that looks better. So when you're in the house, you just have this really nice sight line right there. That's what I'm going to stick with. Great. And you know, one thing we haven't done is tagging. So if I hit TG, I can even tag the doors and see how I'm doing a whole bunch at once. Okay, I'm going to escape a couple times. There's all my door tags. And remember, for now, these numbers don't matter. Once we start getting into schedules, then it will matter. But for now, we're just going to leave whatever Revit gives us. And the last thing that we need to do is this opening right here. So what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to go to door, load family, and there is right here, door opening. So do you see how it just puts an opening in the wall? That's what I want. So if I hit open, it's not asking me for sizes. And okay, again, super lucky. The default size is 3 feet by 3 feet by 7 feet. And that's what we want. If we wanted a different size, I know you know how to fix it, right? Think about it for just a second. Pause if you need to. How would you do it? Did you say edit type duplicate and then change the dimensions? Look at how good you are. I'm so proud of all my little Reviteers. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and center this right there. And look, there's my overhead. Pretty cool, right? So if I spin around, oh, my model's already spun around. Look at how good this looks, right? Not too much time into Revit, and look at how much detail we already have. So this is what we've got for our model this week. What I'd like you to do again is keep working on your 2-bedroom. Basically do this exact same thing. And please remember that on your windows, if possible, I want you guys to again measure the distance and the window size so I can verify that you have the right sizes since we don't have schedules right now. And then use your dimensions to align them to where you need to be. And what you'll do at the end of the week with both your casita and your 2-bedroom, you'll be turning in your same PDF sheets, but they're going to be updated to now show your windows and doors. So your floor plan will show your tags as well as your windows and openings. Your elevations will now show all of your openings as well, your 3D view. So everything's going to keep updating. So yeah, that's it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this and see the value of Revit. Keep going, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. We're just going to keep adding to this model. Thanks, everyone.